Mike McCarthy did not walk into that press room planning to say anything important. He was answering a routine question about the 2026 roster. Reporters were not pressing him, but in one short answer, he said two specific things that blew the entire plan wide open. Once you hear exactly what those words were and why they matter, the rest of this offseason makes complete sense. Here is exactly what happened. A reporter asked McCarthy about building the Steelers' 2026 roster. Completely normal question. McCarthy talked through scheme, free agency targets, the typical offseason topics. Then he shifted to Aaron Rodgers. He said the two of them had been speaking regularly throughout the offseason. He then described Rodgers using one specific word: motivated. That is it. Two things: regular conversations, one word to describe the player's mindset, and both of those things just confirmed everything Pittsburgh has been trying to keep quiet. Here is why that matters. NFL head coaches do not set up a regular call schedule with a player who might retire. You do not organize weekly conversations with a 43-year-old quarterback unless something has already been decided. Those calls are not social. They are professional. Installation calls, film breakdowns, playbook conversations. McCarthy is not calling Rodgers to ask how the family is doing. He is calling because the offense is already being built around him. And the word motivated is not a compliment you hand a player who is still thinking it over. You use that word when you are describing someone who has already made his decision, is already in the gym, and is already preparing like the season starts next month. McCarthy did not announce anything, but he confirmed everything. Now go back further, because this is where the full picture forms. Before McCarthy said a single word publicly, Steelers team president Art Rooney II went on record and told reporters that Aaron Rodgers was expected to announce his return before the 2026 NFL Draft. Not after, not around the same time. Before. Team presidents do not go on record with specific timelines unless the decision has already been made internally. Rooney was not speculating. He was not hoping out loud. He was reading from a plan that Rodgers himself had already signed off on. The announcement was already scheduled. Rooney just let the timeline slip early. So now you have the team president confirming a specific return window, and the head coach confirming weekly professional conversations are already happening. Both on record, both unplanned, both pointing at the exact same answer. And here is the detail that ties it together. None of this happens. Not the Rooney statement, not the McCarthy calls, not any of it, unless one thing is already settled behind closed doors. Remember what we said at the very top. McCarthy said those things without being directly asked about a return. He volunteered them. He was comfortable saying them. And the reason he was that comfortable is sitting right inside the history between these two men. McCarthy was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers from 2006 to 2018. Rodgers was his starting quarterback for every single one of those 12 seasons. Together, they won Super Bowl 45. Together, they built one of the most productive quarterback and coach combinations the league had seen in a generation. Rodgers developed into a league MVP under McCarthy. McCarthy earned his Super Bowl ring because of what Rodgers did behind center. Then, it ended badly. In December 2018, with Green Bay sitting at 4-7-1, the organization fired McCarthy mid-season. Rodgers was still on the roster. He watched his coach get let go with 6 games left on the schedule. There were public reports of tension between the two of them in those final years. The relationship was complicated. They did not work together again for 7 years. 7 years. And now they are in the same building, same team, same goal. That kind of reunion does not happen unless both men specifically wanted it to. Rodgers had options. McCarthy had options. They chose Pittsburgh together. That choice tells you everything about where Rodgers' head is right now. Here is something Pittsburgh has not said out loud, but their actions make obvious. The Steelers did not hire McCarthy and then wait to see if Rodgers would come back. They hired McCarthy because they already knew Rodgers was returning. These two decisions cannot be pulled apart. Think about the front office position. You have a 43-year-old quarterback who threw 24 touchdown passes in his first year with your team. Your entire 2026 plan depends on whether he comes back. You do not hire a specific head coach, one with a 12-year working relationship with that exact quarterback, and then leave the return question open. You hire that coach because the answer is already yes, and you want the transition to be as smooth as possible. The moment McCarthy was hired, those weekly calls began. The offense is already being designed. Personnel targets are already being identified. Pittsburgh is not waiting on Rodgers to make up his mind. They are building around him right now, today, in April. Here is the part that changes things for every other team in the conference. If Rodgers announces before the draft, exactly as Rooney said he would, the Steelers walk into late April with complete clarity at quarterback. They do not need to spend a first-round pick on a passer. They do not need to hedge their roster for any kind of rebuild. They go into that draft as a full win-now team with a proven veteran under center and a head coach who already won a championship with that exact quarterback. Every team in the AFC has to adjust the moment that announcement drops. Not because Pittsburgh is a guaranteed Super Bowl team, but because they are no longer a question mark. They become a known threat that every opponent has to specifically plan against. Kansas City is still the conference standard. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the AFC. That is not up for debate. But the Chiefs lost games in 2025. Every team does. And a healthy Rodgers in a McCarthy-designed offense is a real problem for any defense. The AFC North by itself is punishing. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, Josh Allen in Buffalo, Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. The Steelers know they are not sneaking past any of those teams. Rodgers knows it. McCarthy knows it, which is exactly why preparation started in January instead of April. Now here is the argument you always hear. He is 43. Age stops everyone. Look at what Tom Brady did at 43. Left New England after 20 seasons, signed with Tampa Bay, and won the Super Bowl in year one with a completely new team and new system. Brady did not slow down because of his age. He slowed down when his body physically gave out, not one day before. Rodgers tore his Achilles 4 snaps into the 2023 season with the Jets, sat out that entire year, came back in 2024 and played a full season. The Steelers acquired him for 2025, and he threw 24 touchdowns. That is not a player surviving on reputation. That is a player still producing. And here is the real difference between Rodgers and every other aging quarterback who tried to keep going and failed. The physical tools matter, but they are not what separates him. What separates Rodgers is that he solves the defense before the snap. He identifies coverages, spots the blitz, adjusts the protection, and knows where the ball is going before the center's hands move. That processing does not go away at 43. For quarterbacks built like Rodgers, it sharpens. McCarthy's offense is built around exactly that ability. In Green Bay, the two of them ran a West Coast system built on timing routes, play action, and pre-snap reads. Rodgers has always been at his best in that structure. Now, he runs it again with the coach who built it. Go back to the very beginning. McCarthy said two things: regular conversations, highly motivated. That is the entire story packaged inside two phrases from a routine press availability. A head coach does not build a weekly call schedule with a player who is not committed. A team president does not announce a return timeline unless the answer is locked. A front office does not structure their entire offseason around a player who is still deciding. The announcement is coming before the draft. When it drops, the Steelers have a 43-year-old quarterback, a head coach with a Super Bowl ring built next to that same quarterback, and a front office that has been running this plan since the 2025 season ended. Rodgers is not doing this for money. He has made enough. McCarthy is not doing this to manage a rebuild. He left Dallas after 4 seasons without a single playoff win, and his reputation absorbed that damage. Both of them have real things left to prove. Both of them know this window is short. Both of them are already in the building, already working, already building something together for the first time in 7 years. The rest of the AFC has been warned. The only question left is whether the roster Pittsburgh constructs around them through the draft is strong enough to turn this reunion into a real run. And that answer starts the minute Rodgers makes his announcement and Pittsburgh makes their first pick.